Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of my Projectionist vlog. My name is Eve. Thank you very much for tuning in. And this weekend, I believe that it opened up yesterday, but this weekend is the official release, domestic release of Tenet, the new Christopher Nolan movie that has been highly anticipated, long awaited. And it came out this weekend. So to celebrate, I'm just going to briefly talk about, running Christopher Nolan movies on film for almost 20 years. So I pretty much ran most of his movies, but unfortunately not everything. Obviously, The Following and Memento, definitely not. Those movies came out when Christopher Nolan was still like an up-and-comer. But real quick, I just want to say that unfortunately, it's sad to report that I will not be running Tenet in IMAX 1570mm film. I was supposed to, like many other projectionists, many people that I know, we were all kind of set up to run Tenet in IMAX film. I think it was since last summer. I've been having conversations with IMAX and emails and all that. But then, the shutdowns happened, and due to the shutdown, the movie was delayed so many times, and it looks to me, based on what I was reading, that I think Warner Brothers just had to release his film. And because of the shutdowns, they had to restructure the entire release. So I will not be running Tenet in IMAX 1570mm film, unfortunately. And because of that, I won't be making an IMAX video as I usually do when I run, a film, a new first-run feature. So, and I did look at the list online, and apparently, Tenet is playing, I think, in 3 theaters. On IMAX film, I believe in Michigan, Michigan, Indiana, and Florida. Those are the 3. But if there were no shutdowns, I have a feeling there was going to be a lot more theaters. So, all right, let's get into it. So, Christopher Nolan's first major film. I was an usher / concessionist. It was the summer of 2002. My theater received a movie called Insomnia. It opened up Memorial Day weekend up against a Jennifer Lopez movie called Enough. And I have a 35mm trailer for it. I did not run this on 35mm, but I do have a trailer for it, as you can see, Insomnia. This is with Al Pacino and Hilary Swank. And it even says on the back what to program it on. Insomnia. So yeah, I remember we had this movie. I was selling popcorn. It was pretty busy, but again, nobody really knew who Christopher Nolan was. He was just up and coming. He just made this movie. It was pretty cool. Robin Williams was the bad guy. That was a big year for Robin Williams. Taking a turn for darker roles. He had Insomnia, 1 Hour Photo, and the dark comedy Death to Smoochie, which is pretty funny. I would definitely check it out. So, a few years later, I was already a projectionist, 2005, and our theater received 2 prints of Batman Begins, 35mm, no digital yet. We received 2 prints of Batman Begins, which came in early. I built them up, and then I ran the movie a few days early before its actual release. It was supposed to open up on a Friday, I think June 17th, but at the last minute, Warner Brothers changed the date to June 15th. It was a Wednesday. So I ran the movie, and I could tell, watching it in the theater alone, first 5 minutes with the music and just how it was shot and everything, I said, wow, this is gonna like redefine the Batman character. This is gonna be a whole new thing. So, and the movie came out. It did pretty good. I believe it opened up 40 million that weekend. It wasn't like a huge hit. And plus, 2005 was like a really bad summer for movies. Horrible. Batman Begins and maybe a couple other movies survived, were remembered from that summer. But here I have couple trailers that I held on to. And Batman Begins, by the way, was the first Christopher Nolan movie that I ran on film. And I have another trailer for it right here. All right. So the following year, 2006, I started working part-time for the same company at New Rock City 18 and IMAX. Most of you know all this, my history as a projectionist, but I'm just telling new viewers. But we had a movie called The Prestige, which came out in October 2006. It was a movie about competing magicians. A month prior, there was actually a movie with Edward Norton called The Illusionist. So I thought it was pretty cool. There was two magician movies. So The Prestige we had at New Rock, and it did all right, and it wasn't Warner Brothers, it was Disney. And I ran that. It was, maybe 2.5 hours, It didn't do outrageous numbers, kind of just went, came and went. But in the long run, it got a lot of acclaim. But here's a 35 trailer for that I held on to. Let me show you the Disney logo. All right. 2 years later, I think one of Christopher Nolan's biggest films, probably his biggest film ever made, which revolutionized cinema, catapulted him to this big-time director status, and won an Academy Award, posthumous Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for the late Heath Ledger, was The Dark Knight. And the reason why I said it revolutionized cinema was that The Dark Knight was the first Hollywood feature film to shoot with IMAX cameras. It was very impressive at the time. It was very groundbreaking. I remember when I was running I Am Legend in IMAX in December, part of the promotion to go see I Am Legend was, if you see it in IMAX, you'll see the first 6 minutes of The Dark Knight, which was the whole bank robbery scene. And we ran that before our print of I Am Legend. This is back when everything was filmed. So there was no hunting down different theaters. Just if you saw it in IMAX, you got that prologue. And it was incredible. It was all IMAX, and I think it was a way to promote that it was shot with IMAX cameras. It's never been done before, so it felt really good to be a part of that. And then the movie came out, and it was a huge success, and it just pretty much made Christopher Nolan this household name, despite all the critical acclaim he's been, getting following up to The Dark Knight. So, but then the movie was huge financially, and he was huge critically. So, I have some 35 trailers, 2 different versions, as you can see. Look at that, pretty cool. And back here, that's footage of The Dark Knight from an IMAX print that I ran. That's Heath Ledger's dressed up as the nurse right there, so that's pretty cool. Alright, so 2 years later, Inception came out. Now, Inception was really cool. It was a really cool movie, but what was, I think the thing about it was that it was an original concept that he had made because of how successful The Dark Knight was. And Inception, I feel like, was the first movie to really establish Christopher Nolan as a brand and to really display his love of time and kind of very specific plots and layered plots and all that. And it also turned Tom Hardy into a household name. I made a whole episode about it, but here's some 35 trailers for Inception. See that? The label's a little faded on the top trailer. Glad I held on to these. I Unfortunately, with Inception, though, it wasn't shot with IMAX cameras. So, I think it's the one movie of his from Dark Knight up until Tenet that was not shot with IMAX cameras. So 2 years later, after the whole digital rollout occurred in the big multiplexes, which was the same summer Inception came out, all the theaters, 95% of the theaters converted to digital. All the big ones, Regal, AMC, all of them. But in 2012, our theater was one of the theaters that ran, out of 200 theaters in the world, Dark Knight Rises on 1570mm IMAX. And we still had the machine, it was all set up and then revived when needed. And I was the only one left in the building after we went digital, so I was in charge of setting up the IMAX, building the print, setting up the audio. And it was a huge movie, just like Dark Knight. But Dark Knight Rises just wasn't as good. But there was more IMAX footage compared to Dark Knight. So, but I do have some 35 trailers, which I was able to acquire. Our theater didn't have 35 trailers, so I had to get these off of eBay. But there you go. Somebody made a label for that. Dark Knight Rises. I have so many Dark Knight Rises trailers. I actually have not had a chance to inspect these. I was going to, but then the shutdown happened and then I was laid off from my job. Here's one with a label. This too had a prologue. The whole airplane scene with Bane, that had a prologue, and that played before prints of Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol. But you had to track that down compared to when I Am Legend came out. So, another Dark Knight Rises. Oh, so many Dark Knight Rises trailers. Alright, moving on, 2 years later, Interstellar. Interstellar was another IMAX movie our theater got. We were selected to show it. And, I was still there in the building, and I had to help revive it, build the print, all that stuff, and put in charge of making sure that it ran smoothly. So we had that, and it did pretty well. It didn't do Dark Knight numbers, but, again, it's Nolan's brand at that point. A Batman movie is a Batman movie, but, Christopher Nolan was able to make it a Christopher Nolan movie, but let's face it, most people went to see it because it was Batman. Anything outside of, established IP, it's all pure Nolan. And we had Interstellar, which, like I said, had a pretty good run, beautiful looking movie. The IMAX footage was tons of it. So, and I got a 35mm trailer for it. I do have a couple of IMAX clips that I took out from a print that they wanted to that they asked me to trash back then in 2014. But I do have a trailer which I got off of eBay, and I won the bid. It was a pretty big bid, but I won it. But here it is. Interstellar. 2014 is the last time you'll see trailers, film trailers produced on a mass scale for 35mm. I have seen trailers after 2014 on film, but I just ran them on special prints. They were just made specifically for that one print, and that was it. So I ran a Tenet trailer on Joker when I ran that on 35. And I ran Justice League and Star Wars Last Jedi and Blade Runner on Dunkirk, so which I'm going to get to. Fast forward to 2017, and I ran Dunkirk in IMAX film, but I wasn't working for Regal anymore. I wasn't working for that company, so IMAX reached out to me and many other projectionists, and they said, hey, we're doing Dunkirk on film again, but we need projectionists. and they offered me a very substantial amount of money, which I accepted. And I had to go to a theater in Pennsylvania and run Dunkirk on IMAX film for about a month and a half, or a little over a month. And it was a cool experience. I met projectionists that I've never worked with before. It was my first contracting gig. It's the most money I've ever made. And it was a lot of money. Like, I was making stupid amounts of money. But it was awesome, and I have it on my resume now. But I was able to hold on to this. This was actually supposed to be garbage, but I just held on to it. This is a reel of Dunkirk, some IMAX film of Dunkirk. Not the movie, I think like a trailer or something like that. But here, I'll show you it's got a code name called Bodega Bay. Prologue. Look at that, it's wild, right? So that was 2017, I ran Dunkirk. Oh, and I forgot, this is Inception, which I showed off in my Inception video a few weeks ago, or a month ago. But, yeah, 2017 was the last time I ran a Nolan film. Actually, no. 2019, I ran, I was working at the Maritime Aquarium, and I convinced the Maritime Aquarium when they were doing the IMAX roadshow of the Dark Knight trilogy on IMAX film. There was like maybe 5 theaters already doing it internationally, a few in America and a couple overseas. And I convinced the Maritime Aquarium to get the roadshow there to show it. And it was all 3 Batman movies on IMAX film, and which included Batman Begins, which I never ran before on IMAX. I ran it on 35, but never ran it on IMAX before, and we got it, and I got to run it. So unfortunately, nobody showed up because the roadshow was like a last-minute edition, and it wasn't like on IMAX's website. So I think if it was on IMAX's website ahead of time, I think it would have sold really well. So, but yeah, that's my relationship with Christopher Nolan movies. I've been running his movies for 15 years at this point, or I've been involved with his movies up to 20 years. I'm counting Insomnia when I was an usher, and it's great to see this guy become such a huge director and recognized. He's like, today he is like, the Spielberg of today, or the Kubrick of today, or he pushes like practicality, filmmaking. He's all about the cinematic experience and watching movies in the theater and being with people in the theater. And it just kind of sucks what's going on right now with the shutdowns, and I'm sure he's kind of disappointed with the Tenet release, not getting the right amount of IMAX 70mm film theaters, and on top of that, he was supposed to have standard 70mm theaters and 35mm. So, and I'm really bummed too. I wish I ran it, but I am gonna go see it next week. I did get tickets online to go see it. So, all right, everyone. Yeah, I've ran a lot of Nolan movies, and I have a lot of film trailers in my collection. So, alright everybody, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification button to see more videos just like this one. Thanks again for watching. And this is an 80s Die Hard production. Later everyone, bye.